Hey everyone, this is Wrecker back with another build video. So the one that I'm sharing with you guys today is a really good St. Elmo's Engine Negotiator build. Yes, we are using the Negotiator's Dilemma gear set along with a few other pieces. So I just wanted to share a template with you guys if you are looking for a really good hard-hitting Negotiator's Dilemma build, especially with an AR. You can use LMGs with this build as well, because it doesn't really matter. It's not specifically for a specific weapon type, so you can easily swap out pieces and go from there as per your liking. Other than that, it's really easy to make. You don't have to form for really any special pieces. It's really easy to make and set together. So with that all being said, please like the video if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and let's begin. Okay, starting off with the specialization, of course, as usual, we're running Gunner. The primary reason for that is the 10% armor on kill, along with a bunch of other perks that are really helpful. As you can see here, 10% armor on kill, as I said. Every third reload is 50% faster. Then we have an armor kit, which gives us 30% bonus armor along with the rest. We have the riot foam grenade, that's really helpful. Then we have 10% ammo every 60 seconds, 5% for the group. And then we have 10% weapon handling while not moving. Yes, we will be playing in cover most of the time, and this should come in handy for that. And of course, lastly, rate of fire increased by 5% after a kill for 5 seconds, so that's really good to have. Okay, so starting off with the weapons, primarily I'm using the St. Elmo's Engine, the new exotic AR that came out with Year 5. The attributes that we're running, it says 15% assault rifle damage, 21% health damage, and then I have rolled 10% damage to targets out of cover. By the way, you can re-roll your exotics, especially this one, and get this attribute that you see on screen right now. You don't have to run the default that it comes with, because it can be random. Also, mine is fully ranked up to proficiency rank 23, and that's why it's fully upgraded. It says plus 23 weapon damage, so just putting it out there in case you haven't upgraded yours. This shouldn't be the numbers that you're seeing right here. So as for the talent, basically if you stack up to 100, shooting 100 bullets at an enemy, you will get a full mag of shock bullets on the next mag. So that's really handy. Yes, of course, it's not a damage talent, but it's really handy when it comes to dissipating and disrupting enemies as long as possible while outputting damage on them. So that's really handy. As for the mods, they're insanely good. All the mods on this weapon are insanely good. So 20% crit damage plus 30 rounds, which puts us on a 71 round mag. That's the maximum you can get on any AR whatsoever in this game presently. Then we have 20% weapon handling. This thing already shoots like a laser beam, but still getting 20% weapon handling, that's insanely good on top. As for the last mod on the muzzle, we get 20% critical hit chance. So these mods are insanely good for an AR to have from the get-go. As for the secondary, that doesn't really matter. Use what you like as per preference. I'm just using this named LMG because it shoots really good. It basically shoots like an AR, but it's an LMG. So you get a huge mag, like 65 in the mag, and presently mine is sitting at 119 base damage. And also it's an LMG, so you get all the attributes you get for an LMG. Of course, 15% LMG damage, 12% damage targets out of cover, and then 6% damage to armor. And then on top we get 30% weapon handling as a talent. So this thing is really stable, you know. It basically is an AR, but in reality it's an LMG, so that's really good to have. But you can run whatever you like. I'm just running this one as per preference. As for the sidearm, run what you like. I personally prefer to run my Orbit, which comes with a named talent. It's called Perfect Finisher. So basically if you switch to this sidearm and kill an enemy with it and switch back to your primary, it will give you 35% crit chance and 40% crit damage. That's a really good buff to have on any red build, I would recommend. Okay, so starting off with the gear pieces, of course we are running 4-piece Negotiator's Dilemma gear set. 2-piece gets us 15% crit chance, 3-piece gets us 20% crit damage, And the 4-piece gets us the main talent for the gear set. It's called Hostile Negotiations. Critical hits mark enemies for 20 seconds, up to 3 marks in total. When you critically hit a marked enemy, all other marked enemies take 60% of the damage dealt. Whenever a marked enemy dies, gain plus 2% crit damage, stacking up to 20 times or until combat ends. So that's an insanely good talent to have for a red build, of course, where we are already maxed out on the crit chance. So these will get your crit damage numbers to really high, So basically what happens is, if you mark 3 enemies, the rest of the 2 enemies that you are not hitting but they are marked, they will be getting 60% of the damage you're outputting to one single enemy, the one that you marked as well, right? So you to hit one enemy, the 2 other enemies will be getting 60% of that damage. But since we are running the backpack as well, so this buff for 60% goes up to 100%. So before I move on to that particular part of the talent, let me show you the attributes we're running. And this should be the whole theme for all 6 pieces. Weapon damage, crit chance, crit damage, we're running all reds all over. So this is the attributes we're running. Of course, I've slotted in a 12% crit damage mod in there. And this is the backpack talent I was talking about. Increases hostile negotiations damage to additional marked enemies from 60 to 100. So I would highly recommend running the gear set backpack because it's gonna boost your damage to 100%. So if you mark 3 enemies, it doesn't matter which one of those 3 are you shooting at, all 3 are gonna get 100% of that damage at once. So you can kill 3 enemies by shooting at 1 enemy only. So it's insanely good. So I would highly recommend again running this backpack in this setup. As for the rest of the pieces for the gear set, all 3 we're running weapon damage and crit damage. You have to run all reds on all pieces until you are fully maxed out on crit chance, and you need to gain as much crit damage as possible. So same thing for the gloves, 15% weapon damage, 12% crit damage. Same thing for the knee pads, weapon damage, crit hit damage. And lastly, same thing for the holster, weapon damage, crit hit damage. Okay, so for the chest piece, I have chosen to go with a Fenris chest piece because obviously primarily we're running an assault rifle, so this should benefit really good from this brand set, Fenris. So obviously we're getting a brand bonus of 10% assault rifle damage, all reds, weapon damage, crit chance, crit damage, and I have slotted in a 12% crit damage mod in there. As for the talent, as always, I am running Obliterate. This is my favorite talent to run when it comes to red builds, but if you want to run any other talent that you prefer, feel free to use it. It's not necessary to run Obliterate, but for me it works really good when it comes to hitting high numbers. So basically, critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 5 seconds. It stacks up to 25 times. So since in this build we are fully maxed out on crit numbers, this is really easy to stack up. Each time you can basically get the full buff in one mag. Especially with St. Elmo's engine, we got 71 in the mag. So this is, you can get this in maybe half a mag. So this is very easy to stack up, right? So moving on to the last piece. Okay, so for the last piece, for the mask, we're running an exotic mask. It's the Coyote's mask. Of course, all reds, weapon damage, crit chance, crit damage, and of course a 12% crit hit damage mod. As for the exotic talent that it comes with, it's called Pack Instinct. So basically you're getting bonuses as per the range that you're shooting at the enemies at. So from 0 to 15 we're getting 25 crit damage, 15 to 25 meters we're getting 10 crit damage and 10 crit chance, and 25 meters and plus we're getting 25% crit chance. Now the only numbers we are interested in with this setup are the crit damage numbers. As a base, I will show you in the stats later that we are already close to 200% crit damage. So with these buffs, and if you proc the bonus crit damage numbers from the sidearm, you will be hitting over 250% crit damage if you play the build well, or how it's supposed to be played. So this is really good. This is a really good mask to run. I would highly recommend running this mask for this setup. But if you want to use some alternative, let's say for example the I don't remember the name actually, but the mask that comes with 2 mod slots, you can run that as well if you want to run more crit damage. But I feel, you know, this exotic talent helps out your teammates as well if you're running in a group. So that's also the reason I'm running this. So this is the mask I'm running. Now, as for the skills, they don't really matter because I keep changing them depending on what content I'm playing. Let's say, for example, I'm running solo. I like to run this assault turret. Doesn't really matter if it's only a tier 1 or we got no tiers basically. It's a red build, but still it tanks damage for the most amount of time, you know. So I just place it anywhere in the corner and it keeps the aggro off of me while I'm shooting at the enemy. So basically a decoy. So this is what I run. For any other content, I'm running a revive or hive or, you know, some other skill. It depends, you know, what you're playing at. So use what you like. As for the second skill I'm running a fixer drone. Now for this setup, I would recommend this one because this is an all red build. So if you are looking for a bit more survivability to get your armor back without the armor kits, along with 10% armor on kill we're getting from the gunner specialization, you can get some armor back from this one. This heals you really well, especially if you have all red. So we are basically running around 700 and over armor on the build. So running this fixer drone really helps out as per my testing. But use what you like, use what you prefer. Okay, so going over the stats real quick on our primary weapon, St. Elmo's Engine. As you can see, we are fully maxed out on crit chance. Yes, it can go over, but I have slotted in crit damage attributes all over the build so we can make sure we are not going over the 60% critical hit chance cap. So we're sitting at 57% crit chance and 193% crit damage. Now again, these are base numbers. With the buff sweat we're getting from the gear set, the Coyote's mask, and of course our sidearm, you can get this to 250+% crit damage while you're playing at it, right? We've got 75% headshot damage, 21% health damage, and don't forget we are running 10% damage targets out of cover, which isn't listed here. So these are really good numbers. Along with that, if you see at the top down, it's only a 1.8 second reload time, so that's insanely good. 30% reload speed bonus, 30% accuracy, 30% stability. We've got 20% weapon handling. That's what we're getting from the St. Elmo's Engine. So these are insanely good numbers for a assault rifle, right? So these are the stats for the build. Okay, so closing it out with the full overview for the build, we're running the gunner specialization. As a primary, I'm running St. Elmo's Engine. Secondary, New Reliable, it's an LMG, but you can run what you like. As for the sidearm, I'm running the Orbit, but again, that's my preference. You can run any other pistol that you have. As for the gear pieces, we're running 4-piece Negotiator's Dilemma, including the backpack, the Coyote's mask, and then we have a Fenris chest piece with the talent Obliterate. As for the skills, doesn't really matter. Use what you prefer as per the content that you're playing. I personally run the Assault Turret for the decoy, and of course the Fixer Drone to get some of the armor back while I'm playing. So this is about it for the whole build. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment sections below. I will answer them as fast as possible. And again, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.